Okay, hi guys. So today we're going to cover two different phyla, but we're not going to go very in depth on Chordata. We are going to go really in depth on Echinodermata. So these are sea stars. So you're going to look at a number of slides, including you're going to look at the larvae again. Remember that first slide, first lab on cleavages, on cleavage patterns. And so the really neat thing about sea star larvae are that they're bilateral. And the animal is really bilaterally symmetrical, but it loses that during development to look superficially radially symmetrical. And it's the only phyla of animals that does that. So they're just kind of cool that way. So you have a bunch of slides to look at. We also have a lot of specimens that have just been collected over the years. And then we have one dissection that we sometimes do. We often don't get these sea stars because they actually have a newly emerged disease, which I think by now we can all feel for them. So epidemics happen to all species, and it's called sea star wasting disease, and it actually just kind of dissolves their bodies. It's very sad, and it's caused a huge decline in sea stars, especially along the Pacific coast of the US, and that's where we used to get our sea stars. So there used to not be any limits on collecting sea stars, and thankfully there are. So all we can get is immature sea stars, and so these guys have much higher mortalities anyways. They're not reproductively active, and so we do have some in lab. I'm kind of moving away from dissecting them at all. So we also have a really nice, huge model of what an adult sea star would look like inside. And I have pictures of that, or if you're in lab, you can actually pull parts of that model apart. But I do have photos of one of these dissections. Then, a related phyla is Chordata. And so vertebrates, like humans, belong in the Chordata. And that's what we're really going to spend the rest of the class on. So what we're going to look at today is two of the smaller subphyla within Chordata. And those are called subphyla Chordata. And we have both slides and specimens of these little tiny guys called lancelets. They almost look like little mini fishes, but they're different. And then the Chordata, which are tunicates. And tunicates, their larvae look a lot like lancelets, but during development they become sessile, and they actually look really, really different from the rest of the chordates. And so these are the only two groups we're going to look at